Okay, welcome back to Keep It Real Boxing. This is Cypherbox, and basically what I want to talk about here is the middleweight division. I'm not talking about old news, etc. I am going to bring up old news articles and stuff like that and things that have happened over the last couple of weeks. But this is nothing new that you guys shouldn't already know, but I'm just giving my opinion. Obviously, I've not uploaded a video for a while, so I'm kind of playing a little bit of catch up and just throwing out my thoughts in terms of what's going on in the sport at the moment. Now, as you know, a couple of weeks ago, Billy J Saunders fought David LEMIEUX with his WBO title on the line. And shout out to Billy J Saunders, absolute masterclass boxing performance he put on. You know, it was great to watch. It was a real thing of beauty to watch, I have to admit. He made David LEMIEUX look like a novice in that ring, you know. David LEMIEUX probably not he's not the greatest in terms of his footwork, etc., but he is a threat in terms of his power and, you know, his ability to be, knock people out and stuff like that. But Billy J Saunders still, I don't want to take any credit away from him at all. I want to give him all the credit for this. It was a great performance, a great performance. Great showmanship he showed as well. A bit cocky at times, but I kind of enjoyed it. The whole bit when he looked out to the ring to kind of see where LEMIEUX's punch went, all that sort of stuff. Great foot movement, use of the ring, lateral movement, combination of punches, counter punching, getting LEMIEUX to commit and getting him to overcommit and miss, and then coming back with beautiful counters. It was a joy to watch. It really was. Didn't appreciate LEMIEUX's comments at the end of the fight, where he basically suggested Billy J Saunders won the fight by running. He didn't fight, etc. The usual excuse that a fighter of LEMIEUX's abilities, and when you get schooled like that in the ring, the usual excuse he will use to kind of manipulate the casual boxing fan or the ignorant boxing fan who doesn't know enough about the sport. I'm going to kill two birds with one stone here. There was an article a couple of weeks ago or the other week on boxingscene.com where Eric Gomez of Golden Boy Promotions said that that a fight between Canelo and Billy J Saunders wouldn't be good, because he basically said Billy J Saunders is the same as Erislandy Lara. He's a runner, and it's not a fight for the fans. It's not exciting enough. Well, I beg to differ, because I watched that fight against Saunders against LEMIEUX, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. I thought it was a great fight, and I think a fight with Canelo would be a really good fight. Personally, I think, look, the bottom line is, Golden Boy will be seriously upset right now that things haven't worked out the way they wanted it to work out. Now, obviously, LEMIEUX was, I believe, the manager's challenger to Billy J Saunders. They got Billy J Saunders to come out to Canada to fight, hoping to get the hometown advantage with the judges and stuff like that. Saunders was saying in the build up the fight, I cannot leave it in the judge's hand. I have to outbox him. I have to put a masterclass performance on, and leave no doubt in the judge's mind that I won the fight, which is what he did. Now, I think they saw Billy J Saunders as an easy win for LEMIEUX. LEMIEUX beats Billy J Saunders. LEMIEUX then goes on and fights Canelo. Canelo picks up the WBO title from LEMIEUX because he'll beat LEMIEUX, and then they can go on and fight Triple G in September. Now, those plans have gone out the window, in my opinion. I don't care what other boxing channels are saying or what the media are saying. That is the facts. That was the plan. Was to get LEMIEUX in the ring with Saunders, hometown advantage. Even if it's a close fight, it goes LEMIEUX's way. LEMIEUX picks up the WBO title, or even if LEMIEUX can manage to win by knockout, he picks up the WBO title. He fights then Canelo next. Then Canelo beats LEMIEUX, picks up the WBO title, has the Ring Magazine belt as well at middleweight, and then goes on and fights Triple G in September. And in all this time, Triple G is still inactive, keeping Triple G inactive for the rematch. Let's call it what it is. Let's be real. That's the truth. Billy J Saunders has messed that up completely, has ruined those plans for Golden Boy. And Golden Boy, obviously a little bit upset, because even after the fight, they did not do a post-fight press conference. They had to, Frank Warren had to put a post-fight press conference on for Billy J Saunders back here in the UK, because Golden Boy didn't do it. Now, going back to what I was saying about killing two birds with one stone, I'm going to now respond to LEMIEUX's comments at the end of the fight about calling Billy Joe Saunders a runner, and Eric Gomez saying the same thing, right? This is a tactic to manipulate fans, the casual boxing fans, the ignorant boxing fans out there, in believing that that isn't boxing. I am sick to death of hearing this. Yeah, I'm sick to death of hearing people say, "Oh, he's a runner. He's a runner." No, he's not a runner. He's a boxer. Yeah, that is boxing, people. Yeah, hit and not get hit. Right? Give you a good example. Actually, I'll give you a great example of it. Go watch a young Muhammad Ali. Go watch a young Muhammad Ali and tell me, or a young Sugar Ray Robinson. Go watch Willie Pett. You know, go watch footage on Sugar Ray Leonard and tell me that those guys didn't live and believe in the philosophy of hit and not get hit. Especially a young Muhammad Ali. Go watch some of his fights. When he moves around the ring, he's dancing, he's being evasive, he's slipping punches, he's walking on the back foot, moving out the way. He's not standing there still, allowing someone to beat on him. You know, that's not boxing. That's what people think. People actually watch the sport and think you should stand in the middle with each other and just beat each other's heads off. That's not boxing, that's brawling, that's a street fight. You can go down to your local pub on a Saturday night in the car park and see that if you want. You know, if you want to see a skilled sport, which is what boxing is, that's boxing. Hit and not get hit. Yeah, using ring intelligence, using great movement, foot movement, creating angles. Yeah, a lot of these people who go out there accusing other fighters of running, then go and support a fighter like a Lomachenko, who also is a hit and not get hit sort of fighter. He doesn't stand there and get his head knocked off. He creates angles and gets out of the way. You know, and I'm sick to death of hearing it. Yeah, this is a way of manipulating casual and ignorant boxing fans into believing that, and then, you know, they're the ones on the comment sections and you know, talking on social media and talking trash and all that sort of stuff, saying he's a runner and all this sort of stuff. Nonsense. Yeah, there was no running from Billy Joe Saunders. He wasn't running, he was boxing, and boxing beautifully. So I'm not going to accept that from anyone, or even Eric Gomez or David LEMIEUX. It's a poor excuse. And in my opinion, Eric Gomez, to me, that sounded like you were making an excuse not to fight Billy Joe Saunders. You know? You were making an excuse because you don't fancy it. And a lot of people are going to say, well, what are you talking about? Canelo's a great fighter. Yeah, Canelo's a great fighter. But what's the difference between Billy Joe Saunders and Canelo? I'll tell you. They both have great upper body movement. They roll with punches and have great defense and do you know what I mean? Get out all of that sort of stuff, shoulder rolls and all that sort of stuff. It's all there. The upper body movement, yeah. But when you look at the foot movement, the legs, Canelo Alvarez, he has flat feet. Yeah, he has flat feet. He's heavy-footed. He cannot move around the ring like Billy Joe Saunders does. And that's where he could potentially get exposed. I'm not saying Billy Joe Saunders definitely wins that fight. I don't want people thinking that. Yeah, but that's the fear though. That's where the worry is. So in a sense, it felt like to me you're making an excuse as to why you don't want to fight Billy Joe Saunders. And Billy Joe Saunders has now called out Canelo and Triple G. So how do those fights work out? I don't know. But it makes it interesting. Even Max Kellerman, when he was interviewing Billy Joe Saunders in the ring, said, you know what, before the fight I was pretty convinced you wouldn't beat Canelo and Triple G, but now I'm starting to wonder what would happen in that fight now. You got to remember, this is a brand new Billy Joe Saunders. This isn't the Billy Joe Saunders of old. The old Billy Joe Saunders would have a fight, then in between the fights he'd go to the pub, hit the clubs, eat whatever he wants to eat, live an unhealthy lifestyle. And then train again, cut weight and get back in the ring and look sloppy. But this is a Billy Joe Saunders who's now with Dominic Ingle in the Ingle gym in Sheffield, working with the Sheffield University conditioning team over there who are helping out with his fitness and his conditioning to get him to the right level. And he himself says, I feel I am an athlete now. I'm living the life. A Billy Joe Saunders who's taking things seriously in terms of boxing. And it shows. In his last two performances against Willie Monroe Jr. and especially now against David LEMIEUX, it shows. So you're going up against a completely different animal now, not a Billy Joe Saunders, you know, a pie-eating Ricky Hatton / type Billy Joe Saunders. You're going against a guy who's taken his career seriously for once. So, and he proved that against LEMIEUX, and I don't think that, from the sounds of it, Eric Gomez or Golden Boy Promotions want anything to do with Billy Joe Saunders right now. That's how it sounds to me for now. You know, they'll have to prove me wrong, of course, and I ain't got no problem with that. But at the moment, that's how it sounds. Yeah. He also called out Triple G. You know, in the past, Triple G's have been hounding Billy Joe Saunders. Now Billy Joe, if the roles are reversed, he's now calling out Triple G. Now don't get me wrong, we know Billy Joe Saunders has ducked Triple G in the past. He has been ducking him, you know. It's well documented. I'm not defending that at all. But now Billy Joe Saunders starts to feel confident about himself, and he's gained confidence, and I'll explain to you why he's gained that confidence a little bit. It's not just because of the way he's fighting at the moment. It's certain things that have happened in Triple G's career lately. Okay, now when it comes to Triple G, a lot of people are saying, oh, Triple G's getting old, Triple G's getting slow and all this sort of stuff. I don't agree. I don't agree with that at all. He hasn't had any real hard fights. I mean, the Canelo fight was a hard fight, Daniel Jacobs, but before that, before those two fights, he hadn't really had a hard fight when anyone physically dominated him and caused him any real issues, in my opinion. He's literally walked through everyone up to the point of Daniel Jacobs. So and in my opinion, and I'm not trying to disrespect Triple G. I think he's a very good fighter, a very good boxer, a very underrated boxer, but he does have holes in his style of fighting, which have been exposed now. And I think up to the Kell Brook fight, he's been fighting C-class fighters. Now, you could disagree with that, but go and look at his record. They're all C-class fighters. None of them are elite fighters or A-list fighters. Period. You cannot deny that. Okay? And that's not his fault, because loads of people didn't want to fight him and stuff like that, so he fought whoever was in and around his division. I understand that. But then he got to Kell Brook. Now, although he dominated Kell Brook and he beat Kell Brook and we stopped him, Kell Brook had moments of success. And those moments of success showed, you know, Triple G's flaws. You know, that he's got poor head movement, which you know. He's open down the pipe all the time, the way he boxes and his stance and how he holds his hands out. They're quite wide and leaves himself open down the middle. Yeah. So that gave certain people a lot of confidence. One of them was Billy Joe Saunders. After that fight, he was up for stepping in the ring with Triple G because he thought, oh, my style I could outbox Triple G all night long. So he gained a bit of confidence from that. Obviously, he's more confident now with the way he's training and feeling and looking and boxing. You know, so naturally, yeah, he's going to be confident enough to call out Triple G now. How does that fight pan out? I don't know. I've got to be honest with you. I agree with Max Kellerman. Even I'm wondering, like, how does that fight go? You know, does Triple G win that fight convincingly? Or does, you know, how much of a chance does Billy Joe Saunders really have? You know, what will that fight look like now with the Billy Joe Saunders we're seeing at this moment in time? And the same applies to Canelo and Billy Joe Saunders, in my opinion. And like I was saying, I don't believe Triple G, I got a bit sidetracked there, but I'm going to get back on track now. And in my opinion, like I said, I don't believe Triple G's slowed down. I don't believe Triple G's gotten older. I think the quality of fighters he's going up against are just better. So he's gone from fighting C-class fighters, yeah, to fighting the A-list in his division. The likes of Daniel Jacobs and Canelo. And obviously those fights have been tougher. They bring more to the fight in terms of competition. So naturally those fights are going to be harder fights. And they've gone to the distance. Daniel Jacobs stopped Triple G's 23 knockout streak. You know? But there's nothing wrong with Triple G winning on decision. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. You can't knock everyone out in your division. You can't go your whole career knocking everyone out. It's got to end somewhere. You know, you're going to come up against top-notch opponents, top quality opponents, and that's what's happened in Daniel Jacobs and Canelo for Triple G. He's going up against his A-list opponents in his division now, the top fighters in the middleweight divisions, the guys that who are actually going to push him to his limits. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with him winning those fights on decision. Don't get me wrong. Like, I felt Daniel Jacobs might have just nicked the fight by a round, but but it was a close fight that could have gone either way. You know, I saw the Canelo fight against Triple G as a draw. A lot of people were calling it a robbery. It wasn't a robbery. It could have gone either way, or it was a draw. I wouldn't disagree with anyone saying that, but anyone calling it a robbery like the first Andre Ward versus Sergey Kovalev fight, sorry, you don't know what you're talking about. Go away and learn how to score a fight in boxing. In my opinion, that's just my personal opinion. And I'm not going to entertain anything else other than that. You know, on my channel, I'm going to give my opinion. I'm going to give the honest opinion, and I'm going to give it to you straight and give you the truth. You know, there's a lot of people out there who just won't accept, you know, that when their fighter loses, or the fight they're in was a draw, or they just about won the fight, etc. But in terms of who wins out of Billy Joe Saunders and Triple G, or Billy Joe Saunders and Canelo, right now I honestly couldn't tell you. I would have to see them in the ring as well. I mean, I can make a prediction on it, but I would like to see what happens. In the past, I thought Billy Joe Saunders would get absolutely knocked out and annihilated by both those guys, Triple G and Canelo. But now, I'm not so sure. Okay, so let's move on now to Daniel Jacobs. Daniel Jacobs, after the fight between Billy Joe Saunders and David Lemieux on Instagram, called out Billy Joe Saunders, saying he wants that fight. He's done it before, etc. We know the stories. Billy Joe Saunders has now come back and said, yeah, he'll fight Daniel Jacobs. He's happy to travel to fight Daniel Jacobs. He'll fight Daniel Jacobs in the US, but you've got to pay me $5 million or £5 million, whatever it is. And he also said that Daniel Jacobs doesn't sell well out in the US anyway. His last fight, he only had I think it sold 1,000 or 2,000 tickets. Those were his words, in a sense, in an article. I think it was on boxingscene.com. He even did an interview, I think it was with Fight Hype. Now, a lot of people are coming out saying, oh look, Billy Joe Saunders is back to his usual ways. He's ducking Daniel Jacobs, etc. Alright. Not only that, in the press conference, so I told you Frank Warren did a post-fight press conference for Billy Joe Saunders when he came back from Montreal, Canada. And in that press conference, I do remember them talking about Daniel Jacobs, but Frank Warren made it perfectly clear that that fight would happen on their terms. Basically, Billy Joe Saunders is a champion. You'll come to us. It'll be on our terms, etc. We're calling the shots. Now, a lot of people don't, you know, whether you know or you don't know, there is a promoter beef going on here currently in the UK between Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing and Frank Warren of Frank Warren Promotions, who also owns Box Nation and has a deal with BT Sports, etc. These two do not like each other. They're going back and forth a lot in YouTube videos and their interviews, etc. Talk of StubHub ticket scandals, whatever, etc. I am going to do a video on that as well at some point soon, but I'm not going to talk about it much. But anyway, they're going back and forth in each other, trying to knock each other's work that they're putting in terms of British boxing. And I can understand now Frank Warren, the reason he's made that, put that message out there, is to kind of let Eddie Hearn know, I think, in a sense that, you know what, we'll fight your boy Daniel Jacobs, but it'll be on our terms. We're running the show, basically. So it's kind of an ego thing going on here between the two promoters, well, I think personally. Now, just want to clear something up, because I think a lot of people aren't still sure of what the deal between Daniel Jacobs and Eddie Hearn is. Daniel Jacobs is still a Al Haymon fighter. He is signed to Al Haymon. Al Haymon is his manager and advisor. Al Haymon makes all the deals in terms of he gets the purse split for Daniel Jacobs. You know, he agrees the contracts and terms and conditions and all that sort of stuff and sets up the fights. All Eddie Hearn does is promote Daniel Jacobs. Yeah? Eddie Hearn is not his manager. Eddie Hearn is not his advisor even to a degree. That's all Al Haymon. Yeah? All Eddie Hearn has with Daniel Jacobs is a promotional fight contract. That is it. So let's get it straight. Okay? He is not an Eddie Hearn fighter. He is an Al Haymon fighter. Okay? Now, So it would mean probably Frank Warren would have to do business with Al Heyman, which I'm not sure would be a problem, and they will agree the deal, the terms, the money, the venue, etc., and all that sort of stuff. And all Eddie Hearn's going to do then is promote the fight. But if Frank Warren's the one saying that it's going to be on our terms, our deal, etc., stuff like that, it will probably be a Frank Warren promotion, Box Nation, BT Sport, and the fight would be on Box Nation. You know, they wouldn't put it on Sky. I doubt it. I don't think it would. So that's where the issues are coming in there. Now, obviously, Billy Joe Saunders has put this $5 million or £5 million price tag out there. And a lot of people are saying that, well, he's trying to duck Daniel Jacobs again. You know, again, he's up to his old tricks again. I agree with you. There is a case there where you could turn around and say, you know, is this an attempt of Billy Joe Saunders trying to duck Daniel Jacobs? And yeah, you could be right there, but I'm the kind of guy who likes to look at things from different angles. I don't like to just look at things from one point of view. Okay, I consider all different scenarios. So for me, personally, I think there's another answer as well. So I don't disagree with people who are probably potentially saying that, but what I am saying is there is another one, and which is that maybe Billy Joe Saunders naturally will see Daniel Jacobs as a serious threat to his title and his position in the middleweight division. And he is. Daniel Jacobs has all the skill sets and abilities to beat Billy Joe Saunders. Yeah, he boxes, he does the same things. He can box, he can move, he can use the ring, he can fight southpaw, he can switch it up between orthodox and southpaw. You know, has a good boxing brain on him. We've seen what he did against Triple G, so you know what I mean. It's a close fight, in my opinion, and Daniel Jacobs could win that fight. So he is a serious threat to Billy Joe Saunders. So Billy Joe Saunders might be thinking in his head, well, I'll fight this guy. I'm happy to fight him, but I see him as a serious threat. You know, this guy, you know, he can potentially beat me. He's not going to admit it out. He's not going to admit that out in the open, but he's probably thinking that and thinking to himself, well, if I'm going to take this risky fight, then I want to get paid for it. And I want 5 million. I'm not saying that he's worth 5 million. He isn't worth 5 million. Do you know what I mean? I'm not into the numbers too much. All I care about is making the fight. I just want to see the fight. How they deal between themselves to get that fight made is up to them. But I'm just throwing that out there, is that don't be quick to say he's ducking him. It may be the case that he's thinking he's a serious threat and I could lose my belt to this guy. He could beat me. So if that's the case and I'm going to take this risky fight, I want to get paid well for it. That's how I see it. There's another option there as well. It's not necessarily that he is ducking. I'm not saying that people that are saying that he is ducking are wrong or anything like that. It could be the case. But it could also be the case that he sees it as a real risk and he wants to get paid well for it if he's going to take that risk, if that makes sense. And now on to JERMALL Charlo. Now JERMALL Charlo is kind of sitting in limbo at the moment because he's waiting for Triple G and Canelo to agree terms and, you know, draw up a contract, sign it and make the fight the rematch. And until that happens, he's not going to get a shot at Triple G's WBC title. He is the mandatory challenger. I believe he may have an eliminator fight coming up as well. I'm not too sure about that. You know, I might have missed that bit of news. I'm sure I saw something about that, but I could be wrong on that one. Don't get me wrong. You know, I do miss bits of news as well sometimes. But end of the day, JERMALL Charlo's just got to sit there and wait. You know, he can keep himself active, of course, but he's going to have to just wait patiently for his shot. The WBC have basically turned around and told him, obviously months ago now, that, you know, he can get the winner of Canelo Triple G, even though they said they're sanctioning and mandating the rematch between the two fighters. Not that that really matters, because Canelo, like I've said in the past, does not acknowledge the WBC's authority in boxing anymore. You know, he's had his fallings out with the WBC on a number of occasions as well now, and he doesn't recognise them anymore. If he'd beat Triple G that night, if he got the decision that night against Triple G, he wouldn't have accepted the WBC belt. We saw that when they made the Cinco de Mayo belt for his fight against Chavez, which then the WBC had to auction off because he wouldn't accept it as the winner. But JERMALL Charlo is just going to have to wait. But you know, he's another serious threat in the division. I don't care what anyone says. He's a very good boxer, hits hard, tall, rangy. Boxes well, like I said, got good skill sets, great physique. You know, physically he's in good top-notch condition. So that's another mouth-watering prospect there, right there, in terms of a fight. There's other options for JERMALL Charlo, maybe Daniel Jacobs. You know, if he doesn't want to wait around for Triple G and Canelo, maybe go after Billy J Saunders. You know, but that's totally up to him what he wants to do, of course. But there are options. But if he wants that fight against Triple G, if he wants that WBC belt, then he's just gonna have to patiently wait his turn. Unfortunately, we just don't know what's going on with the negotiation. But apparently they're close to making that fight, from what I've read in articles. Golden Boy Promotions keep talking about, and I think Tom Loeffler as well have kept going on about how they're close to making that fight for Cinco de Mayo in May, because obviously Canelo only fights on Cinco de Mayo weekends. That's all I've really got to say. I mean, look, there's some great prospects in terms of fights out there in the middleweight division. You're probably wondering, why have you got a picture of David Lemieux there? Well, David Lemieux needs to go back to the drawing board, in my opinion, and work out what he's going to do next. Because to me, you know, David Lemieux looks like a stepping stone for any of these guys. I don't think he beats any of those guys. I don't think he beats Charlo. He doesn't beat Daniel Jacobs. He definitely can't beat Billy J Saunders. Golovkin's already put him out the way. Canelo, I think, beats him as well. So, you know, David Lemieux might want to rethink what he's going to do next in terms of his career. But like I said, there's some great fights out there. Great prospect, you know, in terms of great matchups. I look forward to it. The middleweight division looks like there's more than there was a couple of years ago in terms of contenders in the middleweight division. You know, when Triple G was knocking everyone out and beating them, there wasn't really a lot of exciting fights or any top names or enough top names in that division, but there are now. And you know, 2018 could be a really good year when it comes to the middleweight division. Like I said, there's some great fights to be made. Hopefully those fights will get made and we'll see them. As always, guys, like, share and subscribe. Until next time, this is Cypherbox reminding you to keep it real.